What do I do for a living? That's a nuanced question. I'm a rapper.
You a rapper?
No, I'm kidding. We're gonna do more deep than that. I would say that I'm an entrepreneur. I use my rapping ability or my musical ability to drive my business.
Gotcha.
So I'm an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur, yes. I like that. And then for your rapping ability, what type of rap do you do?
Whatever calls for that moment, you know.
Got you.
If it's a passion project, I'll do what I more so enjoy. But if I'm looking to deliver something to a brand, I kind of mold my talents to whatever they're looking for. So
got you.
In this business, you got to be able to diversify.
Yeah,
that's the word.
Yes,
that's
sir.
The word. Yes.
All right. So, what are the pros and cons of what you do? Like the likes or dislikes, ups and downs, the peaks and valleys, the roundabouts.
Of just being an entrepreneur, or just
of being an entrepreneur of the rapping, and how and all of it.
Yeah. I think I'll start off with the cons first. Of being an entrepreneur, I think it's real easy for, especially in today's society on social media, to say you're an entrepreneur. It makes it seem as if it comes with like this crazy like life where I can just fly and do whatever I want and at any given moment. And I think one of the cons now that I'm trying to make it into a pro is the amount of discipline that you have to actually have to be successful.
Yeah.
Because society paints entrepreneurs like these happy-go-lucky people that are just fortunate enough to live off what they do, which is partly true, but that does come with a lot of discipline. Mm-hmm. When I don't have to wake up at 7 in the morning, I have to tell myself, wake up at 7 in the morning and get some work done, or nothing is going to move for me if I don't.
Right.
So that would be the con, is that a lot of the work that I do is not necessarily like passion projects, and I'm more so doing things tailored to brands and companies. So that would be one of the cons. As a creative, you can't just create aimlessly. If you want it to be, lucrative,
right,
you gotta understand the market and create music that will be able to thrive in such market.
Gotcha.
So that's the main con. Pros are the freedom that does come with being an entrepreneur. The freedom of, if my son has a game, can go to it. My son got a function, can go. My wife wants to do this, I can go. I don't gotta ask, hey, can I get PTO to go to this? That is the main pro, I would say.
Got you. So
100%.
PTO,
no PTO. The PRO is no PTO.
I still got to take PTO, but that's cool. I mean, some people got to take PTO.
Yeah.
So the next question would be like, this one's gonna be kind of interesting though.
Okay.
It might be a little left for some people.
Okay.
How does creativity impact what you do?
Wow. Okay. Creativity is all that I do. Realistically, everything that I have to venture into it does come from my heart as a creative. So creativity, just on a direct way of displaying that, would be, you have to be creative to make songs. You got to use creativity. You can't, especially if you want to be different from everybody else, you got to be creative. You got to think of ways that are or a sound for yourself. You got to be creative and show who you are in that creative way. So constantly you have to think of new creative ways to display your talents, because everybody raps, right? There's a lot of people that rap. There's a lot of people that do music. For you to stand out, one, you're going to stand out because you're not that person, but on top of that, you have to be intentional about being creative, and use that creativity to display that in your music or whatever you're doing.
Gotcha.
And then on the business side, you have to also use creativity to creatively get your music out there. So not only do you have to be creative here while you are recording and working, you got to be creative on how you're delivering all of these things, or even how you're approaching a company. If you want somebody to see you and you want to stand out, you have to be creative.
Yes. Yeah.
So creativity for me is one of the driving forces for everything that I do. I have to maintain being creative at all times.
And I'll ask next, is how does that duality between being a creative in the music space, but then being a creative in the business space, how does that impact? Because most of the time we see creatives as only being able to create one way, and then ultimately they get taken advantage of on the back end
1,000%.
because they're not thinking about being creative in the business side of it as well.
Yeah. I think for the most part, as an artist, that is one of the side of creativity that most artists don't pay attention to.
Yeah.
And that's why managers, creative directors, they exist for a reason, and they're there for a reason. But as an artist, you have to look at yourself as a business, and the part about finding the duality in that is oftentimes the artists that you do see that are successful took that extra time to be creative in the business side of things, and that's why their music has reached the levels that it reaches. And that's sometimes even saying, hey, I don't have this creative mind for that, and delegating that to somebody else. Because they might hone in just same way artists hone in on their music and they're creative here. There's people that are just strictly creative on how to shop that music.
Right.
So it does all point back to creativity, and I think it's very important to understand that as seeing yourself as a business and marketing yourself through creativity.
Yes.
And I think that is a very important thing as artists, that you have to find a balance. And if you can't find it within yourself, delegate. Find somebody else that can.
Got you.
Yeah.
So this is not a trick question.
Okay.
You can answer how you want to.
Okay. Well,
But be careful though.
okay.
So, what drives your creativity? Would you say it's like your ability to just express yourself? Because I know earlier you said most of the time you got to create for brands, and you're not necessarily being able to express yourself the way you want to. You got to express yourself how the brand wants you to do it. Or you're just trying to get money out here in these streets.
That's a good question. I think that at least in this season, I am trying to be intentional with, even though I might be creating for a brand, to find the enjoyment in the process of creating for that brand and using what I would already want to do creatively when I am creating something for that brand. So that is one aspect of where I'm trying to, as a creative, you have to try to do to sustain it or you'll burn out. But I will lie, like the money plays. It's about 60%.
60 money?
60%.
60 money or 60 expressing yourself?
60%. 60%. See, the thing about it is, and I'll be 100% honest, like, if somebody's paying a bigger bag, I would do something that I don't want to do creatively. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say.
Yeah.
If it's something that's outside of you, though, like outside of what you believe in creatively,
right?
But it's a bigger bag, you're going to take the bigger bag?
Yes, I am. I'm going to take the bigger bag. And here's the thing. And it all points back to being able to be a creative, right? So I'm going to do something that I don't want to do personally, creatively, but this brain is looking for it, and I have the capacity to do so, and it's not fun.
Now, do you draw the line, though, like, say, like I know a lot of comedians talk about, like, oh, in order to blow, you got to put on the wig and do da-da-da-da.
No.
I'm not saying putting on the wig, but there's something like that in the music space.
For sure,
Is there a line
for sure.
that you draw?
There's definitely a line.